I know you do. Inside the NBA is...
So you don't have to worry about that. You already lost your mind.
Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley. How about this? The Clippers come back and beat the Lakers 95-90. They trailed 49-35 at the half, scored 35 points in the third quarter, with 18 of those coming from Corey Maggette, and they win it 95-90. And we talked at halftime about games the Lakers have lost against teams that they shouldn't lose to. And let's take a look at what's happened in their last 7 games. They have now lost 5 of their last 7. We have this graphic to show a loss at Minnesota. You can understand that. Losing at Chicago, losing at home to Miami, losing to Denver and the Clippers, and you see 3 of those games. They were 2-1 when Shaq was out right there, but you know, we talked, I guess, theoretically about taking things easy and having things in cruise control and that kind of thing, but Chuck, this has to surprise you that you would lose this game to the Clippers after the way the first half went.
Well, it surprised me, but, you know, Ainge hit the nail on the head. You know, he's absolutely right one time. We talked about this. The Lakers on cruise control, and that's the only thing concerned me about them. They are so far ahead of everybody in this league when they want to play, but right now they feel like nobody can really beat them. Everybody thought San Antonio could beat them, which they know they can't. They are very confident for some reason against San Antonio. Them the only 2 teams had even a small chance, but San Antonio's done, and they just feel like they own Sacramento, and they're just coasting. But, you know, they could have learned a valuable lesson tonight. They tried to turn it on, but it was too late. The Clippers had got their momentum going, and they had the snowball effect. If they just go out and play hard, they're going to beat everybody.
It was the Big Valley revisited again, as we said at halftime, the outsider fighting for recognition. And the Clippers get it done.
Oh, we want to continue our halftime kind of theme.
It's kind of a
we talk about
thread.
We'll keep it going. You know, we talked about cruise control again. And I said the only way the Clippers, they really can get into the game is the building has to be shaking, the cheerleaders going crazy. They have to start to play with emotion, and that was the biggest difference. And he gets you to that point, and now they start to win some games.
And Ken is right. You know, the thing that's interesting, like people talk about all these fringe players and role players. We throw words around, and all players in NBA are good players. You know, we had the discussion last week about racially fringe. Every player in the NBA can play, but what every game comes down to is your stars. And the Clippers have Elton Brand, who I love to watch play, and the stars win the game. Everybody in the building know who's going to get the ball. You have to have a guy who's able to score, and the Clippers had that tonight. And they got a bright future. They keep all those guys.
Corey Maggette ties his career high with 28, 18 of those in the third quarter. Elton Brand, 25 and 12. Shaq had 24 and 10. Kobe had 27, but only 2 in the fourth quarter. The Clippers, 95-90. When we come back on Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai, Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves looking to give the Pistons the royal treatment at the Palace, but it wound up the other way around. While Tim Duncan and the Spurs sputtering after a blistering start at Salt Lake City.
Inside the NBA on TNT is brought to you by Hyundai and by Wendy's.
That's amazing to me, that you can shoot that well.
They beat Utah 8 straight times.
That's amazing.
That's owning a team.
That is owning a team. We're going to see the Jazz tomorrow night when they take on the Sacramento Kings at Arco, opening up a home and home.
That could be ugly. Because, you know, Utah's traveling. They get there late tonight. Sacramento's coming off a loss. They play so much better at home. That's one of the reasons I'm not sold on Sacramento, because I judge the good teams by how well they play on the road. And Sacramento's a 500 ball club on the road, but they are awesome at home.
Every single one of, just Charles pointed out, every single one of their losses basically comes on the road. They've only had 1 home loss, which is not the sign of a team that's going to say, you know what, because in the playoffs, you have to contend on the road.
That's the thing I learned when I'm not to interrupt Kenny, when I was young, I thought, well, you just win your home games, you can do this and this and this, but in the playoffs. But it doesn't work. You always got to win some games on the road. You know, Kenny them came into Phoenix to beat us a couple times to get to the championship. You know, we assume we had the home court against the Bulls. Good teams that go on to win the championship, they play well on the road, and Sacramento has not answered that question yet.
Utah right now is 3-7 within the division. The Midwest and San Antonio 9-2, and the Spurs win it tonight 98-92. Just ahead on Inside, can the Pacers beat somebody besides the Bulls? Their trip to Boston is coming up, while Vince Carter and company are the latest hurdle for the New York Knicks. Could the New Yorkers clear it? We'll be back. The New York Knicks, winners 96. to 92. They are now 9-8 against the Central Division and 6-17 against everybody else. Charles, what are you working on over there?
Well, you know, me and Kenny were thinking, we don't think it's fair. They got $4 billion to televise these games next year, and some of these teams stink. So we have come up with an idea to make these teams better, to make the games more exciting.
More exciting.
So we're going to put some teams together.
Instead of contracting teams,
yeah, we're gonna kill expansion. I'm not a big expansion
We're gonna combine teams.
Well, like baseball is talked about.
Miami and New York gonna be one team next year.
Okay.
Could you imagine Spreewell with Zoe
and Eddie Jones?
And Eddie Jones. That's a championship type team.
Detroit and Charlotte.
No, you can't be bagging Detroit already.
Say 500.
He's 500.
500 is not a good record.
Only in baseball.
Started 14-6. I mean, there's still some.
Hey,
man, if I'm in Detroit, I'm not liking it.
What about Golden State and who else?
Memphis.
Golden State, Memphis.
Two teams that played tonight.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
With Antoine Jameson and Larry Hughes.
Cleveland and Chicago. We need to put these teams together. They'll be excited.
We could call it combination.
Just like this segment. Anyway. Just around the bend, another look at the Lakers and the Raptors.
Inside the NBA on TNT is brought to you by Hyundai and by Wendy's.
Hey, that's it for Inside the NBA. Up next on TNT. On the East Coast, it's Chasers. On the West Coast, The Pretender. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Ain't nobody up but us.
Special starting time, 9 Eastern.